All right. Good morning. Happy July 24th, 2021. Looks like we're live. We got some folks filtering in already this morning. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Let the YouTube algorithm know you are interested in the content. Good morning, Jacob. And we've got Prav, who is representing Australia. Good morning to everyone. Yeah, we didn't have a live stream last week. You may have noticed it's been a couple weeks since there's been a video out. Been doing a little vacation, a little catching up, trying to take a breath. Sometimes the summer gets crazy, and it's funny because you can ask my wife every year during the summer. There's a period where the consulting business like slows down, and it's a good chance to take a breath and catch up. But I always start kind of worrying and start kind of getting lathered up about things slowing down. Well, things are starting to pick back up now, so that's good. Morning, JH. Gibby, good morning. Good morning, Sean, CH, Justin. So we took five high school graduates on vacation as a graduation present to my son. And so we need like a week at home where we're not doing anything to actually catch up on rest. So good morning, David. Do you pronounce your name Haney? Good morning. Good morning, Orette. Morning, Harrison. Everybody's kind of filtering in. I don't know if you all saw the thumbnail, but yes, that is a Grand Stream Wi-Fi 6 AP. So, like I said, while I am interested in Wi-Fi 6, I think Wi-Fi 6 is fantastic. Wi-Fi 6E, which gets us into those 6 gigahertz bands, I think is going to be an even larger opportunity. So it's going to be interesting to see when corporate or pro level APs start coming out. And there's probably already some 6Es out, but I probably can't afford them. Good morning, DNS service. So if you got any networking questions, technology questions, security questions, all those things, make sure you're putting those in the comments. David Anderson, I have no idea when the U6 APs are going to be back in stock if you're talking about the Unify. So um everybody's having some supply chain issues right now. There's gear that is not slated to ship until Q2 Q3 2022. So hey, Tony with Quick Tech in the house, good morning. Did vacation with the teens wear you down? Yes, it did. uh Man, I it's been a while since I've been that young, but yeah, it definitely. Whew, and it was warm. And the weatherman was wrong every day, and so the weather was like awesome. But yeah, it's still challenging keeping up with all the teenagers. Bob Carpenter's in the house. Good morning. Good morning, Merv from Northern Ireland. So let's hop right into it. So my wife's phone, she's got that S20, has Wi-Fi 6 in it. So I had her kind of testing this, and I'm going to take some screenshots when we do some further testing because we need multiple Wi-Fi 6 clients to really push these things to their max. And if you can still hear me, give me just a second here. And we're back. Okay. So I've got some sort of a wiring issue here I've got to figure out, but I'm ordering a different camera so that I can go with the ATEM. But that was kind of weird, right? But anyway, I'll try not to touch the desk too much more. I've got to figure that out. Um, so like I said, we got to have more Wi-Fi 6 clients to show that. But here is the Grand Stream Wi-Fi 6 AP. You can see it's got that familiar Grand Stream shape. Yeah, we've still got, the two ports. I mean, but here's the thing, right? Let me grab this other one. Good morning, TN, Bighorn, Alonzo, Noah. Let's see here. All right, so here is a GWN 7630, and we are using a ton of these. I have asked in a future version of the firmware to be able to bond these, because they can do a lot of software controllable things with these. If you've seen the new firmware, you know that. Um, so here's a 7630, and the model number on the Wi-Fi 6 AP is the GWN 7660. So you can see that the 7660, this guy, Wi-Fi 6, is smaller than the GWN. Now, it does have obviously a smaller mounting bracket as well. Uh Preliminary reports. So my wife with her phone, obviously Wi-Fi 6, she's going to get better connections, but even over Wi-Fi 5, when she's connected directly to a Dream machine, the standard one that has the Wi-Fi, the AP built into it, on a speed test, she was only getting like 40 to 50 megabits, and that is with only just a couple other clients on it. With that, she was rocking over 400 megabits a second. So, and I had a few things connected to it as well. And yeah, so good morning, TVJ. I do wish that they would, yeah, and it's all manufacturers, I think. Well, maybe not Aruba. We'll have to take a look at that, but um, you might be able to use the same on the Aruba Instant On. You might be able to use the same mounting bracket, but on uh, the only time you can, well, no, that's not true. Yeah, on those smaller APs, and I haven't done any in-place upgrades, but I do believe on the Ubiquity that is the same. So, and I have to wonder because when you look at everybody's, well, see, I can't even speak in generalities because when you look at the TP Link Wi-Fi 6 AP, that thing is huge. Um, but other manufacturers are shrinking the APs. Now, they are only 2x2 um, APs, so it could be that you know, were able to shrink all that because they've um, got less hardware. But I don't know. Does anybody know technical reason why they're doing that? I would assume that smaller PCBs, better designed antennas, you know, less plastic, manufacturing costs should go down too. I don't know. Somebody let me know in the comments. But yeah, I do like that they went a little smaller with those. JH says that Cisco had the same bracket for the last four version on the internal ones. Interesting. Morning, Dave Robertson. Outside external has different mounting poles. Makes sense. Alonzo says, I am installing the new Aruba AP555 Wi-Fi 6, and they are huge and heavy. Are those the ones that are like a cylinder, Alonzo, that you see? I'm not familiar with that model. And does that other vendor that we're trying to work with, do they have Wi-Fi 6 yet? And you know, I still have not heard anything from them. I signed all the documents, um, you know, all the legal stuff, and we had the contract straightened out. You know, where I would provide U.S. based support. I would do the YouTube videos, and I haven't heard anything back from that company, Alonzo. Good morning, Mr. BB. Michael Berg, good morning. I have not heard anything about Wi-Fi 6 outdoor units. Gibby wants to know, has anyone opened up one to see how much plastic is showing? I've done it on Unify APs and it's like 3 inches by 3 inches board, if I remember. Interesting. No, I usually don't open these things up unless they die, and I haven't had any APs die in a while. Um, so Oh, so Sean says I started deploying some Mist AP41 and have been impressed with the performance and dashboard, but Marvis and the platform does take some getting used to. Has been a marked improvement over UBNT for us. So yeah, so Mist is owned by Juniper. And the one thing that I like about the Mist system with Juniper is that they do have the ability to take Juniper switches, firewalls, and then of course the Mist APs, and now you can all run them in one interface. And the Marvis that Sean is referring to is an AI based system that can help you make network decisions and choices. And but it is one of those services that, yes, it is a good service. If you get a chance to go watch a demo of the Mist system, you should totally check it out. They've got SD WAN built right into the Marvis controller. Um, and JH hit it on the head. It is expensive, but you are paying for a company like Juniper. I mean, Juniper is one of the world's leading network gear providers. And previously, before they hit the Soho market, they were, on that carrier side, and people were like, who's Juniper? And people were, in that higher use case, that carrier grade scenario, there was a lot more Juniper gear deployed than Cisco. And then they hit the SMB Soho market, and they've got great gear, absolutely great gear. Matt asks, is Wi-Fi 6E being talked about? Well, I mean, a lot of people are talking about Wi-Fi 6E, but I haven't had any gear yet. I haven't seen any gear. Um, we'll have to see what that looks like. All right, post your comments, your questions, all that good stuff uh in the comments. If you're looking to buy a Mac, we had a conversation going on, I think it was last weekend, but they are starting to discount the new Mac products with the M1 chip, and I have a feeling the we're going to see an announcement at some point this year about the M2 and all that good stuff. So if you're in the market for a Mac, which I bought a MacBook Pro M1 back in January, and it's an absolutely fantastic machine. Sean says, correct, it is expensive, but depending on the quantity, distributors do seem to be playing ball with pricing. Yeah. So I did a demo and we were supposed to get a free AP, but you had to, after the demo, you had to qualify for something. I didn't qualify. So they never did send me my AP. And JH hit it on the head, Miss Meraki and Mosaic. JH, who is Mosaic? That one, I don't think I've heard of that one. He says they're all expensive, but are backed by really well-known companies, and that's correct. Alonzo's talking about this other company that we are looking at. They're gonna have, looks like they've got some uh, APs coming out. So if you're interested in that company, they're actually in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. So it's not some company that Alonzo just imagined out of thin air. They're huge. Their network gear runs the TikTok network. So um, JH says no one routes like Juniper. It's dead simple. Yeah, if you get into ISPs, WISPs and things like that, like a lot of WISPs will either use MikroTik or Juniper. There are some that use Cisco, but I tend to see more Juniper and MikroTik than anything. TVJS, what do you think of Fanville phones? I think they are solid. I think they are a good value. They will work with any SIP based system. I do like some of the Fanville stuff. Yeah, it's some of it's really good. JH says Tensor is also nice. I think, is it Tensor or Tensor? That's uh the PF Sense, right? That's the high end routing platform from PF Sense. Okay, so Adtran. A while ago, I was looking at Adtran gear, routers specifically, oof, a long time ago, long time ago. And what I liked about their routers at the time is that you got lifetime tech support and lifetime hardware warranty, and it's not like what you think of right now as support. So it was actual people on phones, and Cradle Point's too not is not too bad either. Yeah, we use Cradle Point for 5G, 4G um remote routing, and then we usually throw a router behind it. Morning, Ferris. Interesting. Yeah, I might have to check out Tensor. Um, let's see though. Let's take a look at this mosaic. Let's see if I can surf the web without making my camera upset. Mosaic, mosaic by AdTran. So let's see. Oh, so it looks like Mosaic was that just announced last year. Um, Interesting. So Mosaic cloud platform, programmable network elements. So I was not aware that Mosaic or that AdTran had like they have APs. Do they have so look okay, so they've got residential gateways, service delivery gateways, mesh Wi-Fi. Then they've got the Mosaic subscriber suite. They've got the total access 5,000. I know they've got switches and routers, but I didn't know that they had uh I didn't know they had business Wi-Fi. It looks like they've got IoT gateways as well. I was actually looking at some AdTrans switches on eBay to add those to the fleet. Oh, they've got some pretty decent looking APs. So if you go out and you look at AdTran Business Wi-Fi, however, it's 100% cloud managed, right? So I just had a conversation with a pretty large Microsoft service provider, and even they admitted that hybrid is likely the future. One other thing that I learned this week in a conversation with him, so we were looking at an exchange migration project, and decided to call around and get some prices for that. And I will tell you that they wanted to do a discovery, and just for the discovery, which is like a day or less, they wanted to charge $2,500, and then their ballpark to migrate an exchange server was 25 to $35,000, which tells me that I need to take a look at the services that I offer and readjust my rates because that is crazy. Uh, Daniel Banks says VMware, the Velo SD WAN is awesome. I'll have to check that out as well. Yeah, mail server on Synology is really nice. So I have several customers who are using the mail server plus. Now you get 5 free licenses of mail server plus with your Synology, and then they make it really inexpensive to add more users. And the nice thing is those licenses will transfer. Let's see how much 5 mailboxes are. Let's see. Synology Mail Plus. So you get 5 users. Now, you got to remember that this is just a quick search face value, but I found 5 users for 277. But once you buy them, there's no yearly maintenance or anything like that. And the folks that I have running the Mail Plus, as long as we've had some people who've tinkered in the past and caused some issues, and you have ISPs that don't play ball. But as long as you get everything going the way that it's supposed to, Mail Plus server is fantastic. Good morning, Jeremy. So yeah, I mean, it's got fantastic spam recognition. It's got it looks like somebody took a well-known platform and like scraped it and like packaged it and put it on your Synology. It is really, really nice. Yeah, and so that's also the conversation that I had with this service provider. They they didn't even really want to hear what we had to say at the beginning. The very first thing they did when they had us in a meeting was, "Well, why aren't you all 100% in the cloud? Why aren't you in the cloud? Do you have a cloud migration strategy?" And they're like, "More and more people are going to the cloud." I'm like, "Well, hybrid's the future. Let's be realistic about it." They agree with that. And then I said, "Look, I can show you a GovLoop survey that showed that more uh, smaller municipalities came out of the cloud in 2020, 2021 than went in because the honeymoon was over, and then they figured out what the real cost of the cloud was. So it's definitely interesting. And JH says right there, I just pulled the doctor's office off of Office 365 to Synology Mail Plus. It was just getting too expensive for them. Yeah, and you can do HA um, with that. You can set it up so that you don't have to worry about it. And if you have Meraki, for example, they can easily extend a layer two network um, across your VPN, and your ping times aren't crazy, and you've got a pretty good connection. You could probably do your HA across that VPN. So it's definitely, yeah, it's very nice. We've been setting more and more people up with that, and that's the direction that I'm heading as well. Sean asks, has Synology yet talked about license pricing for Active Insights? I have not seen anything on the pricing for Active Insight. And JH is right. I keep pulling people off the cloud once they get the bill. And then you know, once they figure out that the people who built their software are just relying on AWS, like, you know how many buckets of exposed open data probably live on AWS because people just they don't know. Ryan Sharp, good morning. Bob says, how does Mail Plus handle dynamic or ISPs? Does it require a fixed IP address and MX? Is there any kind of external proxy, et cetera, available? Well, so it depends on how you set it up, Bob. I do recommend that if you're going to host your mail server, that the recommendations. Now we've made it work other ways, but my recommendation is that you have a static IP that your ISP will give you reverse DNS for that IP. Um, but yeah, and that's what JH says. I've always set Mail Plus up with a static. You could, uh, using the proper DNS records, you could do it with dynamic. Now, the problem that you're going to get into is that sometimes there are blacklists that will recognize dynamic, and they're flagged as such. You could run into, reverse DNS issues. You could run into a whole host of issues if it's not set up properly. In which case, you could use somebody like DNS Exit or Mailgun, who is you can use them as a relay. And DNS Exit is another company that is a part of that puzzle that you can use so that if something happens and you go down, DNS Exit can be another MX record, and it will hold and queue your mail until your server comes back online. So that's uh, another piece of the puzzle. Havoc wants to know, talking about VPN, when are you doing a WireGuard setup? Probably not for a little while. I haven't messed with WireGuard a whole lot. Um, there's some other things that I'm working on. Gibby says, "Can anybody get MikroTik gear? I've been waiting for a HAP 3 for 2 months." Yeah, the supply chain everywhere is messed up. Ryan says, "Had to move an AP 15 feet yesterday. Took 2 hours. Hit every single roadblock." Yeah, sometimes the things that we think are simple. We did a phone system installation yesterday. Tore out a Toshiba system. Put in a GrandStream, and what should have been like a 1 hour install, we ran into roadblock, unexpected wiring issues, all kinds of things. So it took a couple hours, but it was okay. Yeah, Bob Carpenter. So the Lenovo prices here are still kind of out of whack. Standard laptop that we used when you could get it, people were gouging. It was $2,700, so we decided to take another route. Alonzo says the ISP Comporium and South Carolina deploy AdTran gateways. I will be replacing. Interesting. You have to let me know, Alonzo, why you're going to tear that AdTran gateway out. JH says I've got a 12-month lead time on Class 1 Div 2 APs, Division 2 APs from Cisco. TN Bighorn says, have you had a chance to look at the new free PBX version? A lot of good changes in it. No, but I know James has probably been keeping up with that. Justin asks, Willie, what would your approach to deployment of hybrid cloud or cloud solutions? I've begun the process of starting my own MSP for SMBs in my area, and one of our clients wanting to move to the cloud. Well, I mean, that Justin, you just asked like such a huge question. Like we would have to like narrow it in. Like, what are you sticking in the cloud? Why are you sticking it in the cloud? Does it have a hybrid option? There's all kinds of questions we got to answer. I should develop a spreadsheet where you can just ask these kinds of questions. Ryan says, better news. Finally got my hands on an NVIDIA 30 series card. Yeah. So I've been out of like the video card scene for a while. Haven't built a machine in a long time. So I'd have to actually do uh you know, I'd have to I'd have to really do some studying to get back into it. I don't build machines or anything anymore. Sam Smithy says, Wi-Fi guys in the building. Willie, love your work, bro. Inspiration to us all. What do you think about the Unify talk? That is an interesting question. So I have a single customer who wants Unify talk. I had another one who got a hold of me and they have a hotel and they're like, well, Talk work for my hotel. And I'm like, well, do you have a property management system? So when you're in a hospitality type environment, a lot of times the room phones will be used for housekeeping and things like that to communicate back to the property management system that the room's ready to go. You can do mini bar charges, wake up calls, all that stuff. Unify Talk is not built for hospitality. Um, so what do I think about Unify Talk? I think that in the right scenario, it may work. However, $10 per phone line per month, I think is too expensive. Um, so, you know, eh, I'm not going to be pushing it. We'll probably support it. We'll probably troubleshoot it. Um, but it'll be interesting to go. It's not going to be one of our main products. You will see Grand Stream training information very, very soon. I know somebody's going to ask about that, but that is coming very soon. There's a lot of logistics to work out. We got to get hotel rooms locked in. A block. We've got to get want to use a hotel that has like a conference center and things like that. So Havoc says the cloud works. That to say, if the internet is dependable. If that is not the case, then what is the point? I mean, people don't realize how fragile the internet really is. I mean, was it 2 days ago? There was a huge outage with an edge DNS provider and things fell apart all over the place. So don't tell me the internet's perfect and don't tell me that the internet can keep servers up longer than private people. Well, the internet is, interconnected of all of those people, even those of us with our own private servers. So to tell me that the internet itself isn't fragile and doesn't go down and doesn't have problems, that's a farce. Mort asks, how do you feel about the Unify UID drop? I'm going to have to play with that and see how it works out. I don't have any thoughts on that right now. Ryan says, is it possible to install Unify controller on a VM, attach a hard drive, and have access to Protect? No. Protect only runs on Unify hardware. So JH says, cloud is one wild backhoe away from a bad day. 100%. 100%. Or a bad BGP config. You see this a lot. You see people accidentally throw a bad config in the router and then they accidentally start rerouting traffic places it's not supposed to be going. So yeah, absolutely. Bob is correct on that. So, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get my screen sharing fixed and all of that so we can do a lot more screen sharing. You're going to see video on the Wi-Fi 6 AP and but I got a lot of stuff going on today, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you you like this video, please make sure you give us a thumbs up, that you're following, subscribing, follow us on social media. If you need IT consulting, reach out at williehow.com. And I want to thank you all for being here. And as always, I will see you in the next video.